Hey guys, I'm Denise.
And I'm Lindsay, and we're born this gay.
Hey guys, welcome. Welcome to our podcast. This is LGBT content that we like to share with you guys for everybody. So enjoy our channel today.
Heck yeah.
Today's a special episode. It's Easter. Got my Easter colors on.
Yes. She was trying to wear black, and I was like, Denise, it's Easter. You got to wear something like blue, green, yellow, something light, like baby colors.
I believe you.
And now you're making me look dull. I thought I was wearing a bright shirt.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you said bright, so I went into my closet and grabbed the one bright shirt. And I was like,
figured.
You're mine.
It's good. Yeah. It's good.
But today's episode, we're actually going to cover a little bit of the religious background as far as LGBT goes. And we're also going to give you some, as always, some sources or some things to kind of implement into your life and hopefully help you along your journey with faith.
Yeah. And then at the end, our favorite part, I'd say, is the coming out story.
Every time.
So we got a nice episode planned for you guys. I know it has been a minute since we've been here, but we've had super busy weeks going on, y'all. Been killing it at this full-time job that I have now, so just trying to get back into the working field after taking months off.
Yeah,
it's a little bit tiring, but this is a job that it's probably the first job I've had in years, actually, to where I'm looking forward to going to work instead of dreading it, like, oh man, I have to go in at 9:30 today. I'm like, oh, I get 9:30 work, like that's not bad at all. I love all the people I work with. I'm in a field that I enjoy. I'm learning things every day.
Good shit.
So I think it's just a very, very fulfilling job.
And you wanted to go back to your old job.
I know. That would have been so scary, huh?
Yeah.
I'm so happy now. But yeah.
Good, yeah. She actually has 2 jobs going on right now. She also event bartends, so
yeah,
Lindsay, a busy girl.
Yeah, I don't know. A couple weeks ago, we had a WrestleMania going on. I don't know if y'all watched that, but I was there bartending that, so that was fun. I got to meet a couple of different Dallas Cowboys players, a few of the big-name wrestlers. So that was this event bartending. It's a lot more fun than just restaurant bartending. You get to meet so many different people, and then it's all just super quick. Like, I don't run into the same people. I don't have to have hour-long conversations with one person. It's a quick, like, what do you want? All right, pay, bye.
Yeah.
It's so easy. So easy.
And the lights are going on.
Yes, it's a party, and like, I can work a 12-hour shift and it feels like 8. Like, it just goes by so fast. Yeah.
I like it too.
But hey, Denise, you just got back from your bachelorette trip.
Oh, man.
How was that?
Yeah. So I might go a little bit long on this one, guys. I apologize.
But I haven't heard much about it yet. So I saw the Snapchats, but that was it.
Semi-relative to our podcast. So I went with my original roommates. Now, I've told Lindsay, and I think this podcast too, is when I first came out, when I was 18, 19, and I moved out and, I had to do my thing. I was the only gay one of the group. Like, it was me and a bunch of straight people. It was just how it was. A lot of guys too. So I made my bachelor party, or not bachelor party, my bridal party, my groomsmen or bridesmen, I don't know, however you want to say it. We're in tuxes, but they're basically all of my roommates. I invited all 12 of them to be part of my party. 10 of them are going to be, so we're going to have a pretty large wedding party.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, my goodness. But yeah, all these are the people that have lived with me, and I don't know how it happened this way, just by chance, but I'm so happy. The people who went to the bachelor party, because I wanted to travel, so I let my best friend pick, my maid of honor, pick wherever she deemed, and she's known that I've always wanted to go to New York.
Yep.
Big Apple. So she made that happen, and so it ended up being my original roommates who went, like the original people I moved out with, plus the one person that we got like a month after. Mm-hmm. And then like my 2 schoolmates that I knew from high school. So everyone that went has known me for almost 15 years or more.
Yeah.
Right? So,
wow.
yeah.
So you had a solid group going with you then.
I had a solid group. It was me, one other lesbian, 4 straight people. Right?
Oof. Yeah. Yep. That's okay, because they were, I'm not going to say that necessarily matters, but majority of them were like straight guys.
Yes.
So like you could go to like the clubs or like the and go hang out with a whole bunch of females, and they didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, so that was the big thing. That was the high that I got on, was I could have been done with the first day, because it was it was 3 straight guys. My best friend, who is also straight, me, and then a really good friend of mine from my old school days. It's a lesbian, so it's only 2 lesbians out of the group. And one of the, after episode 2 that we did, I learned about the bars in New York, the 3 lesbian bars that are closing down. So I was like, we have to make it a point
to at least go to one of
at least one, because we got to give our money, we got to show support,
of course,
and everything like that. And I even told the guys, because this is something I couldn't get them to do when we lived together, right? They wouldn't go out to S4 or any of the neighborhood clubs or anything like that. Understandable, right? I did get them to watch the L Word. All 3 of them have watched the L Word.
Oh wow, yes. It took you forever to get me to watch the L Word, and it's actually part of my culture. So.
Oh yeah, no, but they've all seen it. So they basically, I told them that they could stay at home if they wanted to, or go, we could split off and do things, and they were like, no, if this is what you want, this is what you get. So I was obviously already heartfelt.
Aww.
And then so we show up to Gaytown, and because this is after you were walking around Times Square sightseeing, and all the bars in New York are expensive. Shocker. Right?
Oh, geez. Couldn't have guessed.
So I was like, well, we might as well just go to Gaytown now and get it out of the way on the first day. So we went to Stonewall, guys.
Wow.
So I actually got to go to Stonewall Inn, which was awesome. I wish I would have taken more pictures, but it was such a different vibe from where we were in Times Square. We went into this pub, had a quick bite to eat, had a quick drink, because everyone was sober, and that was not allowed on a bachelor party.
No, of course.
Right?
What? That's a crime.
So we had a few drinks, and then subwayed our way over to Gaytown. By the way, Subway in New York, that is a mastery. That's a skill, an art form.
Those are my favorite videos with y'all getting lost at the subways.
Oh, so many.
Y'all look so confused.
Yeah.
Y'all definitely look like tourists.
Because there's the if you're going north or you're going south on the subway, but it's the same train, so you have to figure out which side of the track. It was just a big subway rats are also real, guys. That's normal in New York. But anyway, we hit to Gaytown, get to go to Stonewall. So we went from this quiet pub to Stonewall, which I figured it's a bar, right?
Yeah.
It was pumping.
It was more like a club vibe.
Yeah, like everybody was standing. It was a standing room. The bar was full. I managed to, because I had to get the attention of the bartender, I managed to score 1 seat at the bar, and then I had my posse around me, right? And
forming like a barricade.
Yeah, we're just squished on the bar, and I order my famous Vegas bombs, which ended up being the big bombs.
The actual Vegas bombs, yes.
And that's how we started off the night. And then, and that was so busy that I knew, I was like, all right, my crew is, because they're, not only are they straight, but they're also introverted. They're nerds.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So these big crowds, it's not their
scene.
place.
Yeah,
right.
Not their scene whatsoever. So I was like, okay, we got to get out of here. So we get out, and I'm like, all right, well, Henrietta, the lesbian bar, the dying lesbian bar, is 5 minutes away. It's a 5-minute walking distance. So we stopped, we grabbed some New York pizza because we were hungry.
Of course.
Yeah, you have to. New York pizza, hot dog,
so
deli.
Please tell me you got a hot dog.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
On the last day. But yes.
But you still got one in.
Hell yeah.
Good.
And they're cheap. Good. If you want to eat in New York, don't go inside of the restaurants. There's so many stands that the hot dog was a $3.
It was a couple dollars, yeah.
It was easy versus paying, $20 for a sandwich. But anyway. So yeah, we stopped, grab pizza, everything's kind of chill, and I'm like, okay, let's go to this lesbian bar. And I'm expecting, guys, I understand Texas, everything's bigger in Texas. Our lesbian bar, we have 2 floors. It's technically 4 spaces. Is you have the outside patio on the bottom, you have the dance floor, you have the upstairs lounge area with the pool table, and then you have a band room where they do performances. So we have a pretty big lesbian bar,
right?
And so it doesn't seem like it's. I've seen Sue Ellen's full, and I've seen S4 full, but it's never been like that full, crowded, right?
Like no elbow room type crowded.
Yeah, like I've never Oh, I have seen that, but at Pride, but I never went in, right?
Right.
So yeah, we hit up the Henrietta, and I should have known, because when we first get there, and we had already traveled, because you got to realize subway travel takes a while. So if you're gonna
it takes
go
a minute to get where you're going.
Oh yeah, you're committed, right? So we stand outside of the Henrietta because they're at capacity. Right, so at that point, I should have known, okay, this is a busy bar. And I did. I was like, all right, it's going to be busy, but I'm expecting lesbian bar.
Right.
Not lesbian club. Right? So we walk in, we finally get our tickets. And everyone, of course, they can, the attention is on my group because it's all females. And I have the 3 guys.
Oh, yeah.
Right? These 3 guys with the beards.
Very obvious male energy.
Oh,
yes.
man. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. So, yeah, everyone's like, we're all inclusive. Don't worry. It's okay. Like, yeah, without even me, like, bringing it up. Yeah, I just didn't think about it. So, we walk in.
That's not something that you would think to think about either. No. Like, you're just going into a bar. But, like, if it's a lesbian bar, it could be exclusive.
I have my straight guys. Yeah. But anyway, it's my bachelor party for me.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, just for the comfortability of other people too. Like you could almost assume that you can't bring a male into a lesbian bar.
Funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
But you wouldn't think about it just walking up to one.
We're
especially if you're partying too. Exactly. You're like, hey, I got my bros with me. Like I'm getting married. Like let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, we walk in. And I have never witnessed, I've been partying and going to clubs and enjoying the club scene since I was probably 19, 20, right? Mm-hmm. I have never once witnessed in my life the amount of packed lesbians in one place.
Wow.
I'm talking about, you couldn't walk without being shoulder to shoulder.
Really?
Back to back or front to front with someone. It was that packed.
Dang.
Insane.
How long did it take you to get a drink?
Oh, well, that one wasn't too hard. They have a bar kind of out in the, out of the crowd, right? They have a bar in the crowd, and they have a bar out of the crowd.
Smart.
So,
that was smart.
I don't know how my friends secured a spot at the bar, but they did, and we got around. And, of course, it's a club scene, so your cups are like this big, right?
Yep, of course. That's 2 sips.
One. Yeah.
2 sips.
Right. So I'm there. I see this scene, and being an extrovert, I get excited by seeing big crowds.
Like let's go. This is a party, right? Yeah.
I feed off that energy. But I'm also a people pleaser, so I know my crew is gonna be they're gonna be standing off in the corner somewhere, just kind of looking. Which at that point I'm fine. It's my bachelor party. I want to have some fun.
Yeah, you're gonna do what you want to do. Exactly. Right.
So I get my drink. I see the dance floor that's stupid crowded, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna surf my way through and get me a spot. And one of the guys was like, oh, do you want me to help you find a spot? And I'm like, it's okay, no, don't worry, you don't have to.
Right. Yeah.
So I went and I secured me a nice little spot, and I'm expecting my introverted guy, straight male friends to just stand off to the side and, kind of watch, and then just let me do my,
absorb the scene.
Exactly. Let me do my thing, because that's kind of what they've always done.
Anyone out there who's an introvert, you know exactly what we're talking about. You guys like to, it's nothing wrong with it, but we just kind of hang out in the corner.
Exactly.
And you absorb, you get your fill by watching.
Yes.
Watching people dance, whereas the extroverts, we got to be the ones dancing.
Yeah, exactly. So I go out on the dance floor, and then I didn't expect it, but my crew followed me.
No way.
In the dance floor. Like I'm talking about you know how you have to navigate a dance floor, and there's people who are crowd. I don't know if you've ever had to navigate a crowded dance floor, but you kind of have to step in between people and everything. You have to find your nooks and crannies.
You got to dance with them as you're walking through. Yep.
This was way more intense because everyone is back to back dancing. Like you cannot be in that dance floor without dancing on someone, right? So in order for me to get through, I had to physically put my hand, like it was a whole maneuver. Put my hand in between, then kind of slide my hand down so I
create a little space,
and then put a foot in there, right? And then I put a foot, and then and then that's when you start dancing with the girls to try to get, and then at that point, and then you just slide through your drink, and then you just put the drink up, and then you're like, okay, next to the next one. So
that's amazing.
That crowded,
yeah.
And my boys didn't care, so they ended up seeing me coming with me, and then they made it a point to create a circle around me. They'd be like, all right, we're 2 in, back up, push on, push forward. And they did. They backed up a little circle in the Henrietta in this crazy, crazy packed lesbian bar. And my nerdy straight male friends who don't danced with me.
No way. Yeah. That is amazing.
It was amazing.
That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So I could have ended the trip. I could have came home after that day, ended the trip right there, and just been floored because I didn't expect any of that. But yeah, they did it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
we got Lola doing some yoga in the background here. Can you lay down, puppy? Lay down.
Lay down. Lay down. Lola, sit.
We got excited, so she got excited. Yeah. No, that's awesome though, man. I'm glad you had a blast, and I'm glad everyone just was like going along with you too.
Yeah, that was the thing. Again, these are guys who they're not gay. They're very, very straight. We went to, Stonewall is a gay heavy club. Like it's a lot of gay males. No problem would sit over. And then after the Henrietta, after I got my hour, because I figured we waited in line. We did, I'm going to get my hour in. And I feel so bad for them because they got drinks poured on them because it's so crowded. Yeah. They got, at one point, though, it was really funny. This one girl was, dancing and getting into it. And, it being literally, I will say, the club was to capacity. There was over 100 people in that club.
Wow.
Other than my boys, I only saw 2 other men in that entire
group.
Club. Yeah. The entire time I was there. 2. So I had most of the male population in that club, right? And so, this girl's dancing, and then she lays her head on one of my boys, like just on the shoulder, and just starts dancing on him. And I don't think she's real. And she does it like 2 or 3 times. And he's just like, okay, he's still dancing, whatever, fine. And then she turns around, and the look on this woman's face when she sees the full beard, like the horror.
God, right?
I can't. Best moment ever.
Always look who you're dancing with.
Yeah.
Always just a quick glance over the shoulder before you start throwing it back.
So good. So good. But yeah, then after that, we went to, we were still in Gay Town, so we went to just this gay bar that we were looking, because I'm old, guys, so the club scene is just not my scene too much anymore either. So I prefer bars. So we found,
nice. Kind of crowded, or not less crowded, kind of quiet.
So we tried to find a quiet bar. We ended up finding a semi-quiet bar, and it was a gay bar, so it was all men mostly. And so they're playing Britney, they're playing Beyonce, they're playing Gaga, they're playing Madonna.
It's so
good. They're playing all of these things.
So
and
good.
Yeah, my straight friends sure did. They got up and they still danced with me and sang to the words and everything.
I have to ask, did they get hit on while you were at that bar?
One of them did.
One of them did?
Yeah, one of them got asked if they were gay. So, yeah. Yeah, but I guess they could kind of tell because I did have a beanie that said bride.
Right, so it was obvious that you were part of a party.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got some attention. It was nice. But yeah, so my straight friends,
that is
good.
awesome.
Those are great.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So sorry to go on that long tangent, guys, but I got excited, and it's the first time that I got to say anything gay straight about it.
And you got to go to New York,
so
how long have you been wanting to go to New York?
Years, many years. It just, everyone talks about the speed of New York and how there's always things to do and it never sleeps, and that just seems like my type of place.
Right.
And coming back from New York, I can attest to it. Yes, it's very much my energy level. The bars don't close till 4 a.m., so I didn't go to sleep most of the nights till 6 a.m.
Yeah.
But yeah, always something to do, always busy. Everyone's walking. That was another thing I loved is it was the first place where, other than Vegas, where you literally do not getting a car is a waste of time.
Yeah,
even an Uber, a Lyft, those were a waste of time. It's so much better to just take public transit, the subway.
So much traffic. There's so many people
so
in
much.
Such a small area.
Oh yeah, and everything's so expensive.
Yeah.
So, but I loved it. I would go back. So I recommend, if you're extroverted, New York, 10 out of 10. Yeah, for sure. All right, so that's that. You have your job.
I got a haircut. Hey. So I know this is the first time y'all are seeing the top of my head without a hat. It was months, like whole 6 months before I could get my hair cut. So I'm super happy with it. I actually had to find a new stylist because I moved. So I've been going to the same stylist for I think like 4 or 5 years. She's been with me through my whole transition. Like back when I had hair down to my butt, she cut it to my shoulders, and then she gave me my first undercut, and then she cut all my hair off for me. So she was there through my whole transition. So it was a little bit hard for me to let her go. But like driving 40 minutes for a haircut, it wasn't like a 10-minute haircut. It's not, because this doesn't take long to trim up. So I was like, it's not worth it. That's, over an hour round trip just for a 15-minute cut. So I found someone close by, and I think I like her style better, like her style of cut. Like she had different kind of shears that added a little bit more texture into my hair. I like the way that she did my undercut, a little bit more of a fade versus just straight cut all the way through. So I have high hopes for her. I'm excited. Good.
Yeah. So you went to an actual salon?
She has her own. She rents out her own space. Okay. Yeah. And her style is or her label is styles for men. So I was like, oh, she's a barber. So I was like, that's what I'm looking for, like a barber cut.
Oh yeah.
So then I'm sitting there and I'm asking her, and I'm like, well, just curious, like why did you decide to cut like men's hair? Like, what was that thought process behind that? She was just like, I just tend to have like easier going conversations with guys. Girls kind of tend to be a little bit more picky about how they want their hair, and guys give you a little bit more like free flowing, creative styles with it. Like guys are more okay with doing different things, where girls come in with a picture in mind and they're like, I want that and nothing different. So for me, I come in and I'm just like, I want it messy. Like, I like that. Like, I woke up, my hair's messy, and it can be messy like that all day. And she was like, I love that. Let's do it. Hey. And I showed her a picture, and she's like, you're actually the second girl to show me that picture. And I was like, well, hey, it's a good haircut then. She was like, it is. Yeah.
Good shit.
So yeah, we had a couple of good conversations. She's an ally, I'll say. So that was also really nice. It's a nice little comforting thing to get your hair cut by somebody who, like, you can feel comfortable with just being who you are too.
Oh, so, hell yeah. And LGBT guys, if you're out there and you know anyone who has their own business or has their own, side hustle or whatever it is, encourage them to put on whatever LGBT friendly. Yes. I guarantee you it will up the business a little bit.
For sure.
Because we don't like to come out to strangers over and over.
No, it's not too comfortable to come out to just everybody. So
yeah, you just don't know, especially here in the South. You don't know if what you're gonna say is gonna offend, or if it's gonna throw you down a sermon, or any of those things.
Right, all these things, like you're going to hell, which we are definitely gonna get into that this episode.
Let's hit it.
Let's just jump right into it then.
Guys, so Easter is upon us. By the time you guys watch this, it'll either be Easter time or it'll be right before Easter. I'm not sure.
Pretty close. We'll see how fast we get this editing done.
Yeah. But I do know that religion and homosexuality are at odds with one another in a lot of people's headspace.
That is very true.
So for those of you who are of faith and do love your faith and you're struggling, we want to give a little bit of history and a little bit of clarity, if possible.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, like I'll be honest with you, this is something that I struggled with personally, was keeping my faith while coming out as well. And I actually lost my faith for a while, but then it just took finding the right church that preached the right messages and that had the same like ideals of what Christianity really is about, and that's love. That's all God stands for.
What
love.
Faith are you?
I just clarify as Christian. You could maybe do Methodist. That's what I was baptized
as. But Christianity is
Christianity.
Faith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No. I'd say that's most of America. I think we're mostly Christian heavy.
I think so.
Yeah. Because Catholics. I just putting this out there. I'm gonna be the one learning things this episode because I don't know much about religion. But Catholics are considered Christians.
They are.
Right?
Catholic is a branch of Christianity.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Things you learn.
Yeah. More you know, right?
Yeah. But unfortunately, we do have a lot of churches out there, a lot of preachers out there, a lot of religious influencers that do condemn homosexuality. I see the argument that we get most of the time is, I guess there's a verse in the Bible, Leviticus
18:22.
That sounds right.
Yep. And you'll get that thrown at you through every church. Leviticus 18:22. They'll quote it as the translation that a lot of people know now is "man shall not lay with man," right? That's what the New Age Bibles translate that as. But if you go back through history and you look at the actual Hebrew writing of the Bible, and you go through, and if you were to transcribe that properly, it more states as "man shall not lie with child," or "man shall not rape a man."
Oh,
so it's
okay.
more like it has to be a consensual thing. And I have a site here that we'll quote down at the bottom if you guys want to look at yourself, but it actually goes into all of these different Hebrew origins of the words and everything, and how that the New Age Bible transcribed them way differently. They switched verbs around. They transcribed certain things into things that aren't actually what that message was about. So
don't we have like a whole multiple translations of the Bible?
There's so many versions of the Bible. There's a lot. So many. And all of them will say different things. They'll word things differently. They all have the same general message, but they will have different verses worded differently.
I'm assuming the Bible was originally written in Hebrew.
That is correct.
Okay. Okay. So we just translate.
And anything can get lost in translation.
Yeah.
And depending on who is transcribing it, they could have their own beliefs and views read through that, and they're like, "Oh, that's what that means," and they write it out as they see it, where that might not actually be the case. And that is the case for this Bible verse itself. So where it says "man shall not lay with man," it was originally like "man shall not lay with child."
That makes sense.
They just changed it. And I think that verse was actually changed in like 1926, something like that, is when this Bible verse was,
wow, the 1920s, so that's recent.
When this Bible verse was then changed to that translation.
Yeah, that was one thing that always confused me, guys, because I know that back in history that religion was actually much more powerful back in history.
True,
like the Catholicism, all the Christianity, all of those things were, very high power, very, everyone's very much of faith back in the olden times. But you still have people in the olden times like Alexander the Great or the Greeks or, just these people who did have homosexual, like it has been very much known who've had homosexual relationships, but it wasn't known as an abnormal thing. Like it was actually known as a normal thing to have a guy who also had gay sex with another man. Like that was okay.
It was
and
known.
I always wondered why the religion,
what happened, changed. Like, and then if anyone tries to throw at you like the Bible definition of marriage, if y'all go back and read the stories of marriage in the Bible, they, like, majority of the things they do would be, like, looked down on, if not illegal nowadays. Like, it was more of a cultural practices versus the spiritual model. So that back in when the Bible was originally being written, you had instances of polygamy, or husbands taking on multiple wives, another word for polygamy. And then, so nowadays, that's not, necessarily...
When someone throws the Bible at you as the reason as you shouldn't be doing things, there's so many things in the Bible that if it was written, if you followed it verbatim, like the instructions that are given, there's so many rules in there that we don't follow in
None
general.
None at all.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people with tattoos.
You're not supposed to mark your body.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who eat shrimp. Apparently that's something that's...
Really? I haven't heard the shrimp one.
Oh, yeah. Apparently shrimp is condemned in some versions of the Bible.
Interesting.
Yeah,
exactly.
shellfish,
some versions. Yeah. Some versions. Like, there's so many different versions of the Bible. And, like, I don't know. This is actually not a well-known fact either. Did y'all know, like, God or Jesus didn't write the Bible? His disciples wrote the Bible. His
Humans.
followers. Yes, humans wrote the Bible. And they wrote it in their language, which then was transcribed by other humans in their own languages. And humans are known to kind of change things around in their minds. We're very free thinkers. We kind of do our own things. We have our own opinions. So, of course, that is going to be transcribed in the writing itself.
It's like a religious game of telephone.
It is. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what the Bible is, yeah.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, that's you're gonna hear Leviticus a lot, guys. You're gonna hear
that's gonna be the main one that's thrown at you.
Marriage needs to be between a man and a woman only. That's traditional family, the way it should be. It's not again, everything's always changing.
Yeah.
And then I guess the third argument I hear all the time is that it's not natural, right?
What is natural? What is natural?
It's not found in nature. You have female sex animals and male sex animals, and that's how you mate, and that's how you procreate, and that's the natural order of things. Yeah.
Right.
However, I will say there has been very many studies where before I even go there, first, we shouldn't be modeling ourselves off the animal kingdom. I don't see you guys hunting. I don't see you guys going out and eating raw meat. I don't see anyone sniffing each other's butts.
Yeah, like, since when do we define what's natural based on how animals act?
Yeah, I feel like we're a little bit more evolved.
A little bit more civilized than that. Yeah, exactly. For sure.
If you want to model yourself after an animal, then give up your cell phone. So, 1. 2, it is found in nature. Actually, pretty often there's plenty of gay penguins. I've heard of gay seagulls. I've heard of and these are like lifelong relationships that these animals take
mate
on.
For life.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
There's been gay sex in dolphins. Like, there's just it's found in nature. I'm sure if you have 2 dogs, you've seen one hump the other, even if they're the same sex.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. It's found in nature, guys. So I don't know what your argument of it's not natural. Tell me what natural is, please.
Yeah.
Define natural.
True. I feel like anything that is of this earth is natural, as long as it was created with this earth, which gay people
were created with the earth. Like, you can go back through years and hundreds of years of history, thousands of years of history, and you will hear stories of same-sex relationships. It's been happening since the beginning of time. So I don't understand why it's only within the last couple hundred years now become such a big deal in religion, because it was prominent back when the Bible was being written. Like, there were same-sex relationships back in Jesus' time.
Okay. Yeah. See, I didn't even know that part.
Yeah, there were. Yeah. And Jesus never actually spoke against homosexuality. In all his teachings, all he did was uplift justice and love and understanding. He never once said anything about condemning homosexuals.
Yeah, that's one thing that I never understood, is because if we're talking about God or just a creator whatsoever, he created us, right?
Exactly.
He created us in his own image, is what
those are the words. Yeah, that's it. He created us in his own image.
So I mean, if he created us, shouldn't he know that we are going to be gay, right? Like, so shouldn't that be something that I mean, if he loves you for you,
exactly that,
be able to
exactly
love you for
that.
being, I mean, yeah. So that's always confusing for me. But yeah, I do know that the religious sector, they do have certain ways to take the gay away, or they like to the whole conversion therapy.
Reparative or conversion therapy is a dangerous practice that targets LGBT youth and seeks to change their sexual gender, their sexual or gender identities. And a quote from this source here says, minors are especially vulnerable, and conversion therapy can lead to depression, anxiety, drug use, homelessness, and suicide. It is like you're cramming something down someone's throat who's not who they are. 21 states have laws protecting youth against conversion therapy practices, and multiple municipals. Y'all can tell English was not my best subject. Have enacted similar protections. 7 cities and counties have made this laws against or laws protecting youth against this.
Good.
Yeah, and then according to a recent report by the William Institute at UCLA School of Law, an estimate of 20,000 LGBTQ minors in states without protection will be subject to conversion therapy by licensed healthcare professionals if the state officials fail to act. So, like, you could even go to a doctor and you tell a doctor that you're gay, and they're going to say, oh, well, you need to do this. You need to go to some kind of a therapy, like pray the gay away is one you hear all the time.
Oh,
pray the gay away.
I dated someone for a while who went to a conversion camp.
That's wild.
Right. Thank you.
I can't imagine the trauma.
Oh, well, okay.
Not so much?
All right. So, she was discovered being gay, and I'm probably like 16, 17, I think. And then her mom and her grandma was a very religious person. Like, I think she might be some type of pastor, I think. Or she has her own Bible study or something. Like, she's something prominent in the church, right? So her grandma made her mother send her to a all-girls Christian camp for, I think, a year, right?
Wow.
And the point of her sending her there was so they could, for the conversion, so they could
pray the gay away.
Yeah, basically, take away her feelings of homosexuality, right? Unfortunately, it didn't work. My ex ended up being kicked out because she kept sleeping with the girls.
Wasn't working.
I mean, but yeah, apparently there was nuns. They frowned upon it. They tried to convert her into not being gay, and it didn't work. But yeah, I will say, yeah, you're probably right. The trauma that she went through, because I do know she did love a lot of the sisters for the nuns. She did love them. She also had, like, I guess they give you a mentor when you get on there. Okay. But it's mostly the camp that she went to is mostly like, let's teach you hard labor and religion, and then that's going to put you on the straight and narrow.
Really just takes your mind off of being gay, right? Like, just forget about it.
Yeah.
Just forget about it. No, that's not how that works.
How it works.
Sorry, that's not how it works.
Yeah, the thought of just the concept of conversion therapy.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy concept.
Yeah, like the common belief of it is an individual can change their sexual orientation or gender identity either through prayer or religious efforts through so-called conversion therapy. So they're saying, like, you can change that, you can fix that, that's a problem, but, like, you can't change who you are as a person.
No.
That's not how that works.
No, I mean, if you're attracted to something, you're attracted to something.
That's it.
That's how it is.
It's like it's an instinct in a sense. Yeah. Like, if you feel it down, then you can't, like, I can't look at males the same way I look at females. True. Like, that is just something that is deep inside of me. True. That I cannot change. Like, even if I wanted to, I couldn't change it. Like,
yeah. And I know in the olden times that it was something that, people would go through and they would try to change, but unfortunately the amount of suicidal attempts, the amount of we're gonna get so many hate comments, but the amount of, like, violence that comes out of it, whether someone turns into some type of or the amount of true crime that might come out of it. I would say I've seen multiple true crime, like what's one, Jeffrey Dahmer, for instance. Oh yeah.
Like someone who's so heavily closeted, and like they're taught from so young that this is such a bad thing that they begin to feel ashamed by it, and that shame can lead to so many other things.
John Wayne Gacy. I mean, we could go, and that's, unfortunately, that didn't help our case. So it was like a horrible cycle of things. Like, you tell someone that they can't be gay, so then they try to be straight, and then they don't succeed, so then they do a whole bunch of horrible things trying to, suss these feelings out, or maybe get some type of release. And then the media takes that and like, okay, he was gay. It's a bad man. Just how it goes. Of course. It's horrible, evil. And then it just kind of, what do you call it? Feeds the cycle of gay is bad. So if I get to be gay, I have to be bad.
They go hand in hand. Yeah, and like, guys, the only thing the Bible says about homosexuality is that it is a spirit. and it's not a bad spirit, it's a good spirit. Whereas shame is a bad spirit, and bad spirits lead to more bad spirits. And so that's where it kind of like all of that kind of, it's just a snowball effect after that. Once you start feeling shame, then you start feeling anger after that, and then you start getting hateful, and like all these feelings lead after this. Like if you hate yourself, like how are you supposed to love anybody else?
That's a good point. Yeah, it's really rooted in shame.
Yeah,
right. So
for
if
sure.
you are shameful on who you are,
yeah, you're just gonna grow to hate after that.
True. Yeah, shame is big thing.
Yeah.
And that's why you have all those big conservative leaders that are gay in the background, and then they get found out, and then suicide happens at some point. So
yeah, it's just a sad cycle that we just can't seem to get out of.
Yeah, so conversion therapy doesn't work, or if it does, I'm sorry guys, I'm a little jaded when it comes to these things because I've lived out and proud for years and years and years. If you went through conversion therapy and you had a positive experience, please reach out to me because I want to know.
I can't say I've met anyone who had a
not.
Positive experience in conversion therapy.
Have you ever seen But I'm a Cheerleader? Okay. Old school movie for you younger crowd. You won't have heard of it. If you're older crowd, you probably heard of it and you probably watched it and saw how bad the production was. But it was one of our first gay movies, or it was one of the first gay movies I got to see, and it's a movie about conversion therapy. Apparently, the main character, kissed someone or kissed a girl or found attraction to girls, so they sent her to this camp, and you have the the flamboyant gay boys, and then you have the lesbians, right? And they literally make them like dress up in like these onesie suits with like a little flower over their parts, right? And then they make them actually go through the act of heterosexual sex, like missionary position.
That is wild.
It was one of those movies that as I'm watching as like a 14-year-old girl, I'm like, holy shit, this is an actual thing. And of course the movie turns out to, later in the two girls hook up and then they get kicked out and all of those things. So it ends up being a good story. It's a really good LGBT friendly movie. Old school. It's very old. So if you don't like old movies, you're
not gonna be able to sit through that one.
Yeah, but it's good for how the 90s and the early 2000s kind of viewed the LGBT community. I can't, I've only seen conversion therapy, like I'd say, in person through movies, and the Hollywood always over exaggerates everything, so I'm not really I don't think that majority of conversion camps nowadays would like have you practice heterosexual sex like that. Like that just seems a little bit far-fetched. No, if anything, guys, I think conversion camps is actually going to turn you gayer. Like I said, my
surrounded by a whole bunch of girls.
Exactly.
Literally, yeah.
My ex ended up going, and she got kicked out because she kept sleeping with other girls. And then on top of that, one of the girls, I met a couple of her friends, because obviously that was it wasn't just for conversion therapy. It was also a camp where you sent bad kids, right? Also, just deeming the whole thing that gay is bad. That's not true. But yeah, so I met a couple of her friends, and one of them, not sure if she was gay, but that camp sure did solidify it.
That was it. For a fact now.
Yep, now she's married to a woman. Yeah. Gorgeous, gorgeous girl. But yeah, so... if anything, sorry guys, for you religious leaders, conversion camp doesn't work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever seen it actually work.
Prove me wrong, please, internet.
Yeah,
prove me wrong.
let's hear it. Let's hear what you got to say on this.
Yeah. Okay. So that's, I guess, a little bit of LGBT history when it comes to the Bible and everything like that. And I kind of wanna. It's Easter weekend, so I know.
Actually, I did want to touch a little bit on. A lot of people believe that you can't be married in a church if it's a same-sex marriage, and granted, that is kind of true for the the general overview of the church. In 2019, the General Conference for the Methodist churches met, and they came to the conclusion that they were not at all going to tolerate same-sex marriages within the church. And if they found a clergy or a bishop that was performing these marriages, if you were caught, the first offense was that you were suspended for a year without pay. If you were caught with a second offense, you were let go from the church for life. You were removed from the ministry. You were like the church turned his back on you, in a sense, which goes against everything God stands for.
He stands for love, doesn't
That's
he?
it.
Yeah.
He never, and throughout the entire Bible and throughout all of history, God has never once turned his back on mankind. The only time he ever went silent and turned his back was when Jesus was hanging on the cross. And that is because Jesus hung on the cross for our sins. So he's hanging there. So he's like, I'm going to take all of my Father's wrath for you guys right now. So he hung on the cross, and for the first time in Jesus's life, he was not able to communicate with God. He was completely and utterly alone and suffered. And he did that so that God would never turn his back on us. So the fact that the church is saying, we're going to turn our back on you, that goes against everything that the Christian religion stands for. It's all about love, and it's all about acceptance. God doesn't love you any more or any less than someone who's a criminal. Like, he loves everybody the same. He sees all the forgiveness. He doesn't see anything wrong. He only sees the good and the love in you. So then with that view in mind, there are a couple of churches who then went on to say, you know what, forget that. We're going to do it anyways. So we're going to include a link down below in the description, guys, of a whole list of churches that will perform same-sex marriages.
Yeah, good guys. Because I will say, as someone who's getting married now, I'm not a religious person, but my fiance kind of is. So finding someone finding a venue that would be okay with being with marrying same sex was, kind of it created a little anxiety. It was a sensitive issue.
Yeah.
And then finding also an officiant, because I've seen a lot of officiants, even in, like, I do have some friends who are very much atheist, right? And I've seen at their wedding, the officiant they hired, because they just hired an officiant, sure did went on a sermon. So I was like, I don't want to have to come out to a guy, especially here in Texas.
Oh, it's so scary here in Texas.
Oh, we actually have a Texas, like, values or something, like, group that is very much trying to bring back the traditional marriage and things like that between a man and a woman. So yeah,
again, we'll go back to what the traditional marriage in the Bible was, and it was all polygamy. It was all the wife is property.
Yeah,
it's
she's a business transaction. Yeah.
Yeah, she's sold into marriage.
Hey guys, if you watch Bridgerton, you know this, because it's not the one. Yeah, they fantasize. They do the whole. They fantasize on how the woman gets to pick the suitor, kind of, because all these suitors are coming through, and But if you really look down in that series, like, the woman comes with a dowry. Like, it's a business transaction. After the woman gets married, then all of her financial and all of her well-being is now in charge of her new husband is now in charge of that. She doesn't get a say.
Yeah.
Like, it's
and that husband can then go out and get another wife as well.
Well, depending on the religion. But yes. You were right. But yeah, so that's, marriage for those of you who are getting married, just get ready for a little bit of a we're gonna have to kind of cut all that silence out, but there are websites, so I would highly recommend rainbowweddingnetwork.com if you are getting married and trying to find an officiant or a venue. There's plenty of vendors that they provide that are very much LGBT friendly. So I would recommend them to anyone who's looking at getting some type of pasture or sermon or
and I would say the Trevor Project. I love the Trevor Project. They actually do have a segment on the church and gay marriage as well. So we'll include that link down in our description as well for you guys to check out. They have so many different resources, numbers you can text, numbers you can call, emails. You guys can reach out to just about anyone in the Trevor Project about anything going on in your same-sex relationship, or just in your head and your feelings, whether you're confused, you're feeling doubts about this. Like, one of the things that I read on their site was, like, you can be a part of the church and still be gay. Like, it's okay.
Hey, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, but you will get, it's Easter weekend, guys, so Good Friday is either tomorrow, today, or
it's next. It's the Friday before Easter.
Yeah. Well, when this episode comes out, it'll be
yeah.
around this time, and then same thing. Easter Sunday is coming up, so it's not all just egg hunts. I do know that you go to some type of mass or congregation.
Yes, yeah, like it's not. I actually had to explain this to my girlfriend the other day too. She was like, "Well, how big is Easter in the Christian religion?" I was like, "Easter is almost bigger than Christmas." Because that's the day where it was all proved. Like he came back from the dead. He's not gone forever. He walked.
Oh yeah, for our non-Christian viewers, explain Easter for everyone.
Good Friday, the Friday before Easter, is a day of mourning in the Christian community. That is the day that Jesus was killed, and we kind of lost hope for a couple of days. And so we go to church on Good Friday and we mourn the loss of him, and we, in a sense, give praise and celebrate the sacrifice that he made, because I all the things that he went through. Y'all will have to watch some stuff on that, because man, they made him carry this wooden cross all the way through the city while being whipped. They nailed thorn crowns. Yeah. You want to wear a crown? You're a king? Well, here's your crown. Yeah. And they're just thorns on his head. They nailed through his hands and his feet on the cross this, and just hung him there until he died. And when he was thirsty, they soaked a sponge with sour wine and they gave it to him. And then that was the last thing. He drank that. And then I don't want to say it wrong, so I'm not going to say what he said. But then after he drank that, he was like, "I'm going home," and then died. Okay. So that was his last sip, and then he passed. And then, so there's the days of mourning, and then Sunday, when Jesus' followers went to go visit his tomb site, they noticed that the stone was rolled away. Back in these days, they didn't, dig up the ground to bury somebody. They would bury them in a cave, and they'd roll a big boulder over it. And when they came over, the boulder was rolled away, and there was nobody in the tomb. And they walk around, and then you see Jesus kind of walk up through the town. And his proof was, he was "Feel my hands," and he had the holes where the nails were in his hands. And it was him, and he was alive, but he had just died a couple days ago.
Yeah. Freaky.
So this 3 days later, he rose. So Easter is just such a huge celebration because he came back, which is now proof that when you die, you don't just die, you live eternally with God. So that's just a huge celebration
of his resurrection.
Okay. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Easter Sunday. Guys.
Yeah. Christmas, he was born. Easter, he lived.
Hey, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So it's Easter Sunday. So of course it's a big religious, as Lindsay just said, it's huge in Christianity. So unfortunately, you will have some Christian groups, or maybe not even groups, just single nomads that are going to go into the town, or going to go on some sort of corner, or maybe a public space of yours with a beautiful sign and a Bible in his hand and a microphone or a megaphone, and basically spewing out, "Hey, repent now, Jesus died for your sins." And that's all good and all, and I'm totally fine with it. I'm game for you going out and you expressing your religious beliefs. But unfortunately, a lot of these people also, if they see you and you are of the LGBT community, whether you're holding hands with your girlfriend or you're just a 100-footer or any of that, they tend to heckle you in a way. So I just wanted to warn you guys, you might see that when you come out.
Yep.
Don't shy away. Be proud. Be who you are. And don't let them.
Yeah.
Let them roll off your shoulder.
And say we said it before in this episode, guys. God stands for love. So these people who are standing on the streets telling you need to repent or you're going to hell, and then you're getting all these hate comments from them. It's kind of confusing because I'm like, well, I'm just loving someone. That's not a sin. Yeah. You telling me I'm going to hell and shouting all these hurtful words, that's a sin. So I'm like,
regardless of what your flavor of sin is, doesn't God love you regardless?
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
No matter what.
Okay.
No matter what. He loves you more than anyone in this world. I called my mom to get her a little bit of insight from her before this episode. And I just asked her, how did, because my mom she's a huge Christian. She goes Bible studies every week. And she's actually one of the people who helped me find my faith again. And I'm so grateful for that. And I asked her, and I was like, well, how did you feel whenever, like, faith-based, whenever I first came out? And she just told me, she was like, you know what, like, I came to the conclusion that, like, God still loves you, so why shouldn't I?
Hey.
And then she's like, and then I did my research in it too, and she was the one who told me that homosexuality is considered as a spirit in the Bible. It's not above or below any of the other spirits. It's just there. It's just almost like an extra part inside of you. That's not bad, because it's all love related.
Yeah.
It's all love related. And so she was telling me, she was like, it's one thing about God is he loves you more than I do. And she's like, that's crazy for me to try to wrap my head around, but there's no one out there who loves you more than God does.
Hey, I like it. Yeah, Lindsay attests to it. There are religions, there are churches, there are pastors, there are, just these beautiful leaders who do accept you regardless of your LGBT lifestyle. So I mean, that's just, I know a friend who she was religious during basically my entire 20s. She went to church and everything, and she would struggle with being lesbian with her family, who was Catholic, but for some reason she was a Seventh-day Adventist, right? So but for some reason when she went to church, which is actually almost the opposite of what we normally hear, she went to church, they were all accepting. They didn't treat her differently when she came out. They knew her before she came out and after, and it never changed the way they viewed. So there
are churches out there. I remember the church that I grew up going to when I was in middle school is when I first started questioning this, and I was in a Bible study group, and I'd asked my teacher, like, what does God think about, gay people? Mm-hmm. And she told me that, it's not allowed, it's an abomination, it's disgusting, this and that. And I was like, oh, like, made me feel super ashamed of, like, having these feelings. So I pushed them off for years. And then when I finally did come out, I didn't feel comfortable going back to that church. I just felt hate. I felt like people were looking at me. So there was probably about 3 years that I just kind of lost my faith for a while, until I found this church in Cedar Hill, Texas, actually, and like where they don't come out and say that they're LGBT friendly. I have seen multiple, like, girls holding hands, guys holding hands, just flamboyantly gay people walk into these masses, and it's so comforting. And, like, nothing that the pastor preaches about has anything to do with any hate or anything like that. So it's just all about the church that you find, guys. And there are so many different churches out there that will accept you for who you are, versus these churches who have their own beliefs, not God's beliefs in them. And we do have a little link. I'll include it down below, but it is gaychurch.org/findachurch. And if you go to that website and type in your location, it'll pop up all LGBT friendly churches around the area. So that was probably the best source that I found doing this research.
Good stuff. Yeah, we'll definitely link that down below. So if you're going to take anything away from this episode, I just want you to take away that you can be yourself. Like, that's actually the whole thing of this channel, is you can be yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. And B, being yourself, God will still love you. That's just how it goes.
That's it.
Yeah. So we'll try to speed this through because we're already at time, but we have a couple of tips if you are kind of trying to find some resources. You are very much in your faith, and you just don't know how to reach out. So I would give you, I guess there's a good 5 different types of resources. So obviously you can online, we have websites, we have online discussions,
of course,
we have online sermons. So those are very much, I'll link those down below. One of the sites that I found the best was gaychurch.org. But yeah, they have plenty of places where, just like Lindsay said too, you can just find a church or find a book. I think they had like a whole bunch. You find a book, find a church, find an article. So if you like to do a little bit of online research that's more like article based, I would recommend them. And then also I'd say find a local church. A local church is big. So Lindsay's gonna put down the description of a place where you just put in your, was it zip code, right? You said zip code?
Yeah, it's a zip code area.
Yeah. And then they give you a whole bunch of LGBT friendly churches, which for those of you getting married, that might be a really good option for you.
Yeah. And also, guys, like, you don't have to go to church. Like, we did like the online sermons. Those are very, very much a thing. And like, that doesn't mean you didn't go to church. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're not, you know, praising your worship. You don't have to be there in person. You can worship at home. Just find yourself a little quiet space, sit down for an hour, watch this sermon, sing along to the songs, listen to the message. You went to church.
Yeah, no, that's my parents. I am not religious, but my parents grew up in a religious background. So my mother grew up from a Jehovah's Witness background. My father grew up Roman Catholic background. So they have a little bit different, but they very much are spiritual people. It kind of takes people back, but they don't go to church. They refuse to go to an actual place where people are in charge of your relationship with God. They prefer to have their own personal, private relationship.
I would say my personal favorite form of worship or praise is if I'm driving somewhere, I'll put on my Christian music and I'll have my own little praise session in the car. I did it on the way here, actually. Get in the mood for this episode.
Yes. So yeah, guys, use media. Use any type of media. Books. I do know doing research for this podcast, there's a really good book that's actually number one, like on the best times list. It's called Queering Wesley, Queering the Church. So yeah, I'd check that out, or Us versus Us. So there's plenty of material out there if you're a reader. There's also podcasts.
Heyo.
So we're gonna promote the podcasts. But yeah, we found a couple of different podcasts that do have those online sermons, or the episodes are just it's basic. Yeah, I'd say it's basically a sermon, right? That's basic. Okay.
Yeah, if you're receiving a message from God, that's a sermon.
Okay. But yeah, we found a couple. The ones that I wrote down were Blue Babies Pink, Queer Theology, but there's so many more. And then also, you got your books, you got your podcasts, you got online articles. You can find your local church here in DFW, our biggest church that goes to all of the Pride events and is huge for LGBT, is the Cathedral of Hope. But the other thing is, guys, we're big millennial Gen Z generation, so use social media.
Yes, that's what it's there for.
I'm sure there's a ton. It's really weird to cuss in this episode.
Yep.
There's a ton of Facebook groups that are LGBT with faith. There's a ton of social media influencers just in general who make it their mission, their point to kind of bridge the gap between homosexuality and religion. The people I wrote down were Abby Shavestein and Semler and Owin Pierson. So these are a couple people you could follow. If I find more, I'll obviously share.
Actually, I hadn't heard of Semler until you just did that research there. But she actually has some music on Spotify too.
Yeah.
As a Christian-based artist too.
I think the reason she came up was she had like a hit or something that was in the Christian music. So I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So she is an acting lesbian, as these Christians like to put it. And she is a lesbian and she makes Christian music.
Beautiful.
It's amazing.
Beautiful. So guys, there's material out there, there's sources. You just got to find it. If you want to look in our description, we will link all of these sources that we found to make it a little easier on you. But yeah, if you're of faith, if you're struggling a little bit this Easter, we have something for you.
Yeah. And guys, all this research that we just gave you, all these facts and everything, I think it was a total of maybe 45 minutes of research.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of research, guys.
Yeah, and it was that easy to find all of that stuff. Like a quick Google search, like gay marriage in churches. And I kid you not, so many articles will pop up. Of course, you have the wiki articles, but you can actually find some .gov, or not .gov, some .org articles in there that have like legit information on them too.
So yeah, if you're from a small town, if you're the only gay person you know, if you're in the middle of nowhere, if you're out in maybe a different country, there's still, the internet's going to be your best friend.
The internet's
That's how you discovered us. So.
That's it, yeah. One more search, and you're there.
just that description link. So I guess this is my favorite part of the episode.
Whoop whoop. Yeah. Coming out stories.
That's right.
Yeah. So still waiting on those submissions, y'all. It's okay. We're patient people, but
that's true. Yeah. Comment. Let me know, how did you come out? You can make it a couple sentences, or you can write a book if you want. I'll read it.
Yeah. Write us a whole essay. How long? Speaking of essays, that's what this coming out story is.
Okay.
This is actually an article from the UCI college. I'm assuming it's a college. No, it's a university, I guess, university. But they went through and they asked some of their LGBTQ students for their coming out stories, and then they put them all together and put them on a nifty little website for all of us to read.
Perfect.
So, and we will put that description down there too. But we'll go through and we'll read some of these stories. So y'all don't have to go through and read them on your own if you don't want to. But all right, so this one is their first story on the site, and this one is kind of long, so I think we're only gonna do the one coming out story today, guys. But I skimmed through it a little bit, and it seems like a pretty good story. So let's start. Sometimes help comes in the most unexpected places. After my coming out experience, I became eternally grateful for the amount of support and empathy that was given to me by both my friends and my family. Although I lost quite a few friends and acquaintances in the process, the rewards of self-confidence and seeing the sincerity in the relationships I had with the people in my life made the entire experience worth it in the end. I always knew I was different from the other boys on the playground, but I never thought homosexuality was a bad thing. My father always told me that being different was being different, and nothing more than that. In elementary school, I would go around and tell the boys and girls I had crushes on them, and no one thought anything of the antics. I felt reassured that being different was acceptable.
Hey.
In junior high, however, middle school. Middle school.
Yeah,
Yep.
that'll do it to you.
That'll do it. In junior high, however, everything seemed to change. All of a sudden, the boys were expected to wear a certain style of clothes, act a certain way, and treat girls in a particular manner. I remember being extremely confused but also confident in my differences from these boys, but as the years progressed, it became more and more difficult. Being a Boy Scout and hearing horror stories of homosexuals being outed and expelled from organizations instilled a sense of fear and confidentiality with my blooming sexual urges. I began to conform to the gender stereotypes of hypermasculinity. I remember starting to skateboard and play basketball like a typical pre-teenager. I started to dress differently. I changed my hairstyle. I started talking more like a guy and I felt fake, lonely, and misunderstood. Problems with my family and feelings of rejection led me to spiral vertigo into a spiraling vertigo of depression, which eventually led to a few attempts of suicide. And we just talked about that. Like the shame can lead to so many things, and suicide being one of those. If it wasn't for two very close friends of mine who I still talk to on a regular basis, I wouldn't have made it past the age of 13. 13. Oh my gosh, that is so young to be feeling so awful. It wasn't until my junior year of high school that something clicked in my mind. While walking along the ocean beach in San Francisco, one of my best girlfriends at the time asked me if I was gay or if I ever had sexual feelings for guys. At first, I denied the claim. When I got home from the city that evening, I called her and told her everything. I told her about my depression, my secret crushes, my sexual frustrations, and my feelings of rejection. With her help, I was finally able to muster up the courage to come out to the rest of my friends and eventually my family.
Hey, that ally.
Yes, that
needed.
One friend. That's all it takes. One friend.
Just one.
Just that confidence.
I accept
boost.
you.
Yes, that's it. To hear those words from somebody.
Ugh.
I remember the day clearly, November 3rd, 2006. I was sitting in my photography class with my best friend at the time as my teacher was droning on about, that is some school words, aperture, widths, and shutter speeds.
Aperture and shutter
Aperture.
speeds, a photography term.
I was going to say
Okay.
Sam would know what that term is.
Sure would.
Yep. I pulled my friends aside and whispered, "I need to talk to you after class about something really important. Is that cool?" He shrugged and continued to take notes. After class, I looked him straight in the eye and told him that I was gay. That was the last time I ever talked to him. He looked at me, shook his head, and walked away. I was devastated. That's crazy. I come from a conservative suburb in the Bay Area, so this didn't come as much of a shock. When a lot of my close friends reacted in a similar manner, I felt isolated and depressed. Yeah, that really sucks. You had the one friend, but then the rest of them are just assholes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. After a period of frustration, I decided I needed to broaden my horizons and put myself out there.
Damn right.
Yes, be you.
Yes.
Be you loud.
That's right.
I began to socialize outside of my network, and eventually I built solid friendships with a variety of people who would be integral in developing my self-identity as a strong queer individual. As the social transformation was ongoing, my family was in the back burner for myself. One day, my dad walked into my room, hugged me, and said he would always support me, no matter who I was or what I did with my life. I burst into tears and told him everything.
Aww.
After many hours of tears and anguish, I felt completely drained. With the support of my family behind me, I felt invincible and rejuvenated. Head held high, I finished the rest of high school with a renewed sense of optimism and a strong, fiery passion to succeed.
Good shit.
Oh man, that's amazing. Although the beginning phases of coming out were painful and disheartening, the end result was phenomenal. Not only have I become more confident in myself, but I have also been able to help others through the process. Coming out fostered my personality, my relationship with people, and my growth as an individual.
Hey, wow. That was great.
Wow. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the name of the author for this. Yeah.
Well, whoever you are, if that's
that
your
is
coming out story,
amazing.
that
was
really
good,
one.
man. You went through the first initial acceptance from the one friend, and then just being torn down by your other friends.
Yeah.
And then after that, you were accepted by your family. You found other friends outside of your
That's a big
community.
one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to branch out.
Yeah, no, for real, I did the same thing. I came out when I was 18, 19, came out to my group of straight friends, and most of them accepted me, but I did have a couple of friends from middle school, ironically, that I was catching up with, and I, explained how I was out now, and yeah, I do remember I think the sentence she said. She's like, "I still love you, but that's not the lifestyle I want you to have." And that was it. And I never heard from her for years and years and years after that.
Wow, yeah.
So
that's crazy. Like, his friend you said, "I'm gay." He just shook his head and walked away. He didn't even say a single thing.
Yeah, well,
so
I mean,
wild.
yeah, I will say, and I feel for you guys, you gentlemen, it is so much harder to come out as a male than it is to come out as a female. It's kind of an unfortunate thing, because
I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of men are okay with lesbians. Females not so much, but men are okay. However, in the gay male culture, males and females are not okay with gay men, and just unfortunately.
It's for what? For what?
But yeah, they're happy. Let them be happy. Well, you be happy,
yes,
babe.
Be happy. Don't let anyone tell you different.
Yeah. So, guys, I ran a little bit long, a little bit over our normal time, but I hope you enjoyed our Easter episode. Yeah. I did. I learned a lot today, which was really nice.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite episodes so far. I'm glad I finally got to incorporate my faith into this. It's a big part of me. So
good stuff, guys. So enjoy your Easter. Enjoy Good Friday. Yeah. Enjoy Easter Sunday. I hope you catch a lot of eggs if you still Easter egg hunt.
I do. I'm 23 years old, and I definitely still hunt Easter eggs.
But yeah, enjoy your mass. Enjoy your sermons. Don't let anyone get you down, or if like I said, if you are in a church where they're not accepting, there's plenty of.
There's so many guys. Like, it actually blew my mind how many churches will put out there in their name that they are LGBT friendly.
Love it. So yeah, guys. With that being said, I hope y'all have a great Easter weekend.
Whoop whoop.
I am Denise.
I'm Lindsay, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.